What's up, everybody? It's your boy KidSmoove.
And it's your man, Rags. Shazam, here we are again. Let's go.
And I'm an Xbox fanboy. I don't understand why fanboys are so frowned upon.
Well, then that means we have a lot of work to do. After all, Hitler didn't think there was anything wrong with Nazis. In fact, I might even argue by definition a fanboy is someone who's incapable of self or system critique. Of course a fanboy doesn't know what's wrong with fanboys. And therein lies one of the greatest, if not the greatest problem about fanboys. They lack the ability to self-correct. They are incapable of the self-awareness most people and consumers are.
I really don't get it. Everything has a fanboy. Every product, every brand, every person, every team, everything has some sort of fanboys.
But this is not justification for that, is it? There are rapists in every country, but I'm staying the hell away from Sweden if I was a woman.
But yet, the fanboys that get so much gripe are the fanboys that are relatives to gaming. And I want to know why.
Well, when you are a self-proclaimed fanboy on a gaming channel on YouTube who regularly associates with other gaming channels on YouTube, of course to you, gaming fanboys will be the ones that are predominant in the conversations. You mention the fanboys about everything else. Well, they apply to those communities. How often in gaming YouTube channels does the discussion shift to BMW fanboys or Keltec fanboys?
We need fanboys. Businesses need fanboys. Advertisements, marketing teams, everybody needs fanboys.
Fanboys, without a doubt, do help the profit margins of companies of all shapes, sizes, and kinds. And there's nothing wrong with supporting companies that give you products or services that you think are in their best interest or that are in your best interest. If it's a good product and you buy it, I don't think anyone can fault you for partaking in that transaction. The problem is that fanboys will make companies grow at the expense of their fellow consumers. The fanboy mentality puts the product or the service ahead of his fellow consumer. It puts it ahead of value. It puts it ahead of anything that would be good for himself. In a way, fanboyism is almost like masked self-loathing.
It's okay. I don't understand why it's okay to be a fan, a diehard fanatic of a team like the Yankees, Patriots, Giants, but you can't be a diehard fan of Xbox, PlayStation. I don't get it.
Well, there's probably a lot that you don't understand. But there is a difference between being a diehard fan or just a really big fan of something and a fanboy of something. So if I was a diehard fan of the Yankees and I read in the paper tomorrow morning that Luis Severino murdered his family and used gasoline and homemade Molotovs to conflagrate an orphanage, it wouldn't be my attempt to justify anything he did or downplay its awfulness. A true fanboy of the Yankees, though, would do those things. In the same way, say, an Xbox fanboy would attempt to justify an anti-consumer atrocity committed by Microsoft.
I mean, people complain so much about gaming fanboys. It's just like, I don't understand. What do you want?
What do we want? Well, here's what I want you to do. What I want you to do is, you can like your Xbox. There's nothing wrong with liking your Xbox. In fact, you can even prefer it as your system of choice. What we want you to do is stop declaring your fanboyness over something that can lead to anti-consumer practices or encourage Microsoft to do things at the expense of your fellow gamer. Here's what I want you to do. What I want you to do is understand that it's okay for you to have a preference as to which console you prefer or if you prefer the PC. Having a preference is not the issue. So when an Xbot attempts to justify paying $60 a year to play games that you own with an internet connection that you pay for in a house that you pay for on a system that you've bought, when you say things like lower frame rates can be better, when you say things like resolution doesn't matter and then flip on the issue when you are completely, seemingly impervious to reason, that's what we have problems with. If you don't accept facts and if you completely deny them or ignore them, either one, it's a problem on an internal level with you, and you as a consumer affect other consumers. So when a game development company says, well, 24 frames a second is more cinematic and therefore better than you, and you say, yeah, sure, I like this, that's causing a problem. When you buy into the hypes of video games, when there are so many examples of games not living up to the hype, that's a problem. When you pre-order video games and they turn out bad, that's a problem. The fanboy mentality is not good for anybody, including the fanboy himself. A fanboy cannot see farther than the bridge of his own nose.
What do you want? Imagine if we all liked the same thing. You know how boring that would be?
This is irrelevant to the problem. But again, you don't know what the problem is, so it doesn't surprise me that you're making irrelevant arguments. You're saying if we all like the same thing, it would be boring. Would it? If every gamer was playing on a PC, I don't see how that would make anything boring. Certainly not to me. In fact, the explosion of users and the influx of this new source of cash would do benefits for me.
PlayStation's great. Xbox great. We love everything. It would be boring.
You're giving me mixed signals here, kid. A moment ago, you said it would be boring if we all like the same thing. And now you're saying everyone likes everything, so that's bad too.
Boring fanboys makes us who we are.
If the decision of what multi-million-dollar corporation you counterproductively suckle the teats of is the primary determinant as to your character, then you have fundamentally broken standards for your self-worth. It's not my intention to say that it is not possible for the things you support to not have some bearing as to your character, but to say that what you are a fanboy of makes you what and who you are, that's a stretch.
Being a fan of something is important. It's okay to have taste.
You're a self-proclaimed Xbot. You don't have taste.
In your own personal, unique taste or desire or, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, for being a fanboy of Microsoft, the word you're searching for is probably gullibility.
What's the word I'm looking for?
I told you, gullible, naive, trusting, unsophisticated or foolish, unsuspecting, wide-eyed, an easy mark, falling hook, line, and sinker, kidding oneself, swallowing whole, unskeptical, taking the bait. I would say that Microsoft fanboys are worse than the rest in that sense because of how many times they've been lied to and taken advantage of, yet still keep coming back to the corporate teat to suckle upon. You fail to use history and previous events that have happened to you to guide your future actions.
It's okay to have personal preference. It's okay to be a little biased. And we do this every day of our lives. You know, there's fanboys of everything. There's fanboys of Coke. There's fanboys of Pepsi, Toyota, Honda, Nissan, GE, freaking oatmeal raisin cookies, Oreos, my Twinkies, Hostess, Little Debbie.
It's important to note, though, that of all those things you listed off, not all of those were necessarily businesses or corporations or multi-million-dollar conglomerates. For instance, oatmeal raisin cookies can come from a countless variety of sources. So you can hate the guts out of Little Debbie or Nestle and still have Otis Spunkmeyer be your manufacturer of choice. Also, it's odd that I could name 3 manufacturers of oatmeal raisin cookies right off the top of my head.
But yet, we look bad. We make fun of the fanboys that are fanboys of gaming. 'Cause I mean, I remember Pokemon fanboys versus Digimon fanboys versus Magic Card fanboys, and somehow it was never a big deal. But when it comes to gaming, being a fanboy is a problem.
Well, being a fanboy of everything is problematic to its own community. However, just like practically everything else, it's in a spectrum. When you exist inside of a marketplace, and when you're part of a community, when you are in an industry like the modern gaming industry, where consumers are often given the short end of the stick, where they are taken advantage of, we can tie a lot of those problems directly to the masses of people who fanboy for objects.
The majority of the people that are complaining about fanboys or the act of fanboying are generally fanboys. That everybody's a fanboy. There's a fanboy isness, if that's a real word.
It is not.
And everyone, you know what I mean?
Sort of, I suppose. Is there a little fanboy in every one of us? I guess sometimes. But again, it's in a spectrum. Everything is. I know that I have done fanboy behavior in my past, and I regret it, but I've learned from it, and I've moved away from that kind of behavior. But to say that just because some people, or as you say, all people, have a small element of fanboyism inside of them, that means that they should not be able to criticize your open and overt, in-your-face fanboyism. That seems like a kind of deflection where you're trying to get people to not recognize your problems because they might possibly have a problem themselves.
PlayStation have crazy fanboys, Xbox have Xbox fanboys, PC have fanboys. PC gamers will be the first to try to pose as not fanboys, but they're the biggest fanboys in the industry. They're the biggest fanboys in the industry.
PC fanboys are the biggest fanboys in the industry, huh? Well, it couldn't possibly be me, guys. It's those other people. I also think it's odd, perhaps almost a Freudian slip, that you called the Sony fanboys crazy, the PC fanboys the biggest ones in the industry, but didn't say much about the Xbox fanboys. Again, it all comes down to you looking at this from the lens of someone who is a fanboy of Xbox, and sadly, are not shamed by this. I really wish you would have elaborated on this further instead of just making the claim, but, well, you'll know who I am soon enough. Debate me. I do, however, think it's rather odd that you single out PC fanboys as the fanboys who are the most intense are the biggest of them all, considering that of all these systems you can choose from, it's the PC that does not have to tie itself to any corporation singularly in order to enjoy its hobby. I'll proceed along, though. I wanted to keep this one relatively quick and simple, but remember, claims that are made without evidence can be dismissed without evidence as well.
You have to be a fanboy to desire your preferred platform, the master race. Come on, you know what the master race is?
I do. It's a joke. It's literally a joke. It is a joke. It's humor. It is not serious in any regard. When people say it, if you think it actually has racial connotations, you're a fucking moron. But I've been watching a couple of your videos today, and that's been established. I had to listen to Ben Shapiro for about 2 hours to even myself out. PC Master Race is a joke, nothing more, and nobody takes it seriously. Except, of course, for the console guys who don't understand it.
When I hear master race, I think Hitler. I mean, who goes that far? Like, come on, man.
You go that far. You're the only one talking about Hitler. Well, I mean, I did it earlier, but that was different. Same thing with that Nazi dog I've got. It's not serious. It's making fun of people who call us Nazis.
Fanboys. Now, I don't see anything wrong with fanboys by any degree. I don't.
Well, yeah, that's because you're incredibly foolish. Unfortunately, it comes with the territory. Being a fanboy has an innate blindness. It covers up the fanboy's reason and logic skills. It makes them impervious to data. It makes them justify things that should not be justified. It makes it almost impossible for them to understand information or to deny facts.
See, when I criticize fanboys, I don't think I'm criticizing the act of fanboys. I'm criticizing the hate, when fanboys hate other fanboys. You know, if you're a PlayStation fanboy and you hate Xbox fanboys because they're an Xbox fanboys, I mean...
Well, if I only played on the Xbox and I was intelligent enough to recognize that Xbox fanboys were bad for the industry and would in the long term hurt my gaming experience, it wouldn't matter that we play on the same piece of plastic. And it's also an issue of image. I don't want my image to be tainted and scarred by someone who's laughably foolish and silly like an Xbox fanboy is, especially one who proudly declares himself as an Xbot.
Think about it.
No, you think about it.
That's the annoying part, you know what I mean? But I guess it's comparable to how Yankees fans hate Red Sox fans for the sake of them being Red Sox fans.
Do they hate them for that reason? Really? Do they?
But fanboys are hated for the sake of being a fan of something.
No, you are not hated for being a fan of something. You're hated for being a fan of something to an unhealthy degree. A degree which can have impacts on other people in your community.
And people talk this mess as if they want fanboys to cease to exist, and that is not true.
No, it is true. I don't want fanboys to exist in the sense that they are fanboys. I want them to still exist and be living, of course. I don't want them rounded up by the gaming Gestapo and thrown in the gas chambers. I want them to see the light. I want them to recognize a different and superior perspective. A perspective that is supported by facts and evidence.
Nothing will succeed if it didn't have a fan base behind it. Everything we know and love have a fan base. It has a market. It has a following. And followings are nothing but fanboys.
What you've said is incorrect beyond measure. You're looking at this from the reverse of what it is. A company doesn't exist because of fanboys. A company exists because people buy the products, and as a natural result of that, I suppose it's human nature, fanboys will spring up in the community. And being a fan of something or liking something doesn't make you a fanboy. I use NVIDIA GPUs, but that doesn't mean I was defending NVIDIA during the 970 memory fiasco. And there's a reason that I've never made an icon of myself displaying, for instance, the Steam logo to represent the PC, because that is, of course, inaccurate, and I don't wish to tie my image to a single corporation, because tomorrow, Steam could turn into Satan, and here I am wearing its logo around my neck. PC gaming is not Steam, but Xbox is Microsoft, and PlayStation is Sony.
And we only for some reason seem to accept it in everything but gaming, and I kind of want to know why.
Well, hopefully this video has cleared that up for you. Fanboys of things are not appreciated outside of their own echo chambers. That's why on Twitter I'm blocked by Mooch and Crap Gamer and all these guys. That's why JTech TV uses Gestapo level policing to look over his comment section and silence dissent. It's borderline cult behavior with these fanboy communities. It's a reason why they stagnate and grow incredibly slowly while I thrive and succeed. Because they're stupid and I'm smart. Because any one of these tools for a corporation can come up to me and say, "Debate me, faggot," and I'll be right there. Only fools and the ignorant support fanboys. That's why their channels are so small. Because the only people who follow and support those people are ones who don't understand how damaging they themselves are to the industry in which they enjoy.
Fanboys are necessary.
They are not.
We need fanboys, so why hate them?
Because they are ignorant, unreasonable fools.
Let me know in the comment section below.
Oh, I'll do better than that.
I'm out, and Xbox is the best box, and I am the best bot, and I'm proud of it, and I've been that way. I'm out.
Well, that was ridiculous, but at least he kept it short. I hammered this one out pretty quick, so you'll have to forgive me if it's not up to the standards or length that you expect. From what I understand, my length is among my greatest assets. Back to my Battlefield 1 video, so I'll see you guys soon. And remember, fanboys are bad, okay?